I'm reorganizing all of my microphones. I've got a field recording trip coming up, and I thought while I have my cases open, I've never walked through what my mic closet looks like. So figured I'd walk through everything in this case and the other case. This is not going to include mics that I have on stands at all times. I have two ORTF rigs, I have a mid-side rig, I have a sound effects recording rig in the studio. Those are always on stands all the time. So my primary mics actually aren't even going to be in this video. This is kind of my broader collection of very specific mics, kind of what I call stunt mics and stuff like that. Some backups and things that I cycle in and out as I record. So let's get started. Right on top is my beloved Sennheiser MKH30. This is not in my mid-side rig because I've got a Sanken CO100K with this thing's brother, the MKH50. So he is in here now for storage. As a backup to my primary large condenser microphone, I also have and actually really like the Audio-Technica 4050. This is a fairly dark mic, but I like that especially on my voice because I have a voice for silent film. Moving on, you can see big bruiser right here, of course. This is kick drum mic from Shure, the Beta 52A. I use this for drums and percussion and percussive sounds. I've got the holder for the AT 4050 in here as well. Over on this side, we've got some classics, some dynamics. I always like having dynamics around. The Sennheiser MD4421, really love that mic a lot for percussion. Got some bog standards over here, SM57 in case I ever need a hammer, and an SM58 just to kind of say I have one. But this is good for screaming and all sorts of other uses. So always good to have those around, especially the 57. If I want to ever put something on a lead and swing it around my head and not worry about it breaking, it's always good to have those around. These were an impulse purchase a little bit, but I have three 12-gauge microphones. These are Electrets. I have two cardioids and one Omni, and they are housed in shotgun shells. So these are kind of silly, but they sound okay. Great for again, stunt mics. I really don't care if these get destroyed because they're actually pretty tough and they were really inexpensive and they sound okay. So I've got three 12-gauge shotguns. Similarly, I really like the brand Line Audio. So I have two Line Audio CM3s. Those are on stands right now. Those are cardioids. And I have one OM1 Omni. Speaking of other stunt mics, I have an Octava MK12. This is actually an Octava mod MK012. This was modded by Michael Jolie. He doesn't do that anymore. But the electronics were replaced on the inside to make it a little bit lower noise. And I have the various extra pickup pattern modules for it too, as well as a -10 dB pad. Some various holders and stuff. Why do I have USB cables in here? Well, it's because way down at the bottom here, I have an Insta mic. This was a Kickstarter thing. This thing honestly sounds a little bit like trash, but it is a recorder and a mic, stereo mic, all in one. And it's waterproof. So this can do some very, very strange things, and just because of the cool mounting options, magnetic mounts on the back, I chose to keep that around because you never know. Over here we have a pair of mics I really love. These are the Sonorous Objects SO4s. These use the Primo, I think it's a Primo 258 capsule. These go up to about 70K audible frequency, so that's pretty useful for doing stereo ultrasonic recording. Mounting them is tricky because they're so small, but those are really cool. So let's go over to the next case, which is even more focused on special use mics. So the second case is filled with contact mics and other goodies. I have a Cortado Mark III contact mic, and this is probably the best sounding, richest sounding contact mic I've ever used, and that I own. I really should have 2 of these. Underneath that, there is a Crown PZM 30D. I use this from time to time just for a different flavor. It's great to put on a wall or on the floor, on the windshield of a car. Lots of fun mounting options for that. Below that, I have my DPA 4060 stereo kit, so 2 lavaliers, Omni mics, but this kit comes with various adapters and clips, and it also comes with little boundary pucks to let them act a little bit like a pressure zone microphone. So the DPA 4060s are great. I love them and use them all the time. In terms of contact microphones, you see I have a couple of stereo pairs of contact mics. These are Waka Instruments contact mics. They're pretty great. Ezra runs a very cool company. Those sound pretty good. Got some magnetic contact mics from Sonoform. Ed Devane runs a really neat little shop called Sonoform, and these are magnetic, so attaching these to water towers and all sorts of weird things just gives you a lot more mounting options, and it's fun to combine these and other contact mics as well. Speaking of contact mics, we have a Barkus Berry 4000. You will notice I don't have its standard preamp because I have it running into a Triton Audio Big Amp Piezo barrel. This basically impedance matches these contact mics if they're given phantom power. So you just plug this into your phantom power preamp, and you don't need to carry around a big heavy box. This actually sounds about as good as a Barkus Berry's impedance matching preamp. So I just keep this stuff together, makes it for a lighter kit in the field. This thing's getting kind of beaten to hell. I'll probably have to replace that at some point. Little Countryman B3 lavalier. These are cool because they're extremely water resistant. Used in theater a lot, so they're sweat resistant. And this thing sounds pretty good. It's got some caps that you can slot on it to change the frequency response, which is always handy. Although, well, I guess this is technically a microphone. I have a Soma Ether. This is basically an electromagnetic field microphone. It has a couple of contacts that you can actually touch it to metallic objects, and that gives it a different timbre. There's a lot of these products on the market, but they all have a different sound based on how sensitive they are. So I've really come to have a lot of fun with the Soma Ether. Speaking of which, I have another set of electromagnetic microphones, the Lohm Electro Uzis. So these are pretty great. They're stereo, so you can get a little bit of separation and whirl them around, and they're just easy to mount. And I've done the trick where you can actually tape these to your fingers and then wiggle your fingers around. That's kind of a fun way to explore the EM fields of your life. This isn't a microphone at all, but it is a stethoscope. And so I've trimmed the end off of it, and what I like to do is just put lavalier microphones into that end, and then you can do all sorts of weird mono recordings through a stethoscope. That's all kinds of fun. What else do we have in here? We have another Sonoform magnetic contact mic, but this one is mono and can take plug-in power, so this is fun to use with a portable recorder that doesn't have phantom power. And then a Lohm geophone for getting those lows through vibrations. So that's all fun stuff. So that's it. That's kind of like what I've got in my mic closet when I'm not in the studio or in the field with my primary mics. So hope that was interesting.